Hey everybody, I'm Amy Scott. Welcome back to Make Me Smart, where we make today make sense. Kai and Kimberly are both out today, so joining me is the wonderful Sabri Ben-Achour. Hey Sabri.
Hi Amy. Hi everybody. Thanks everyone for joining us. It is Friday, November 15th. This is Economics on Tap, our weekly happy hour episode.
Hooray, we made it to Friday. So we are going to talk about some news, take a quick break, and then play a round of half full, half empty. And I should note, we're taping this early, so I don't know about you, but for drinks, I'm drinking water. How about you?
Yes, I'm drinking this Skittles flavored energy drink because my
Wait,
workday is not over.
Skittles. Say
Yeah,
more.
that's I don't know what is in the energy drink, but it is Skittles flavor, and they also come in Starburst flavor and then some other flavors like cherry. But I like this one.
This is like
Um,
my 10-year-old dream.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it's like petroleum based and like fully synthetic. But I really love
Yeah,
it.
something Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to go after in the next administration. So I'm drinking just plain water, but I thought since that's kind of boring, I brought my crab glass because I'm coming to you from Baltimore. This is the Utz
Oh yeah.
crab chip pint glass. So
How
representing
fun.
my city.
I remember when I was a reporter in that area, I got to go out on talk to crab fishermen and crab boils. Crabs are big in Maryland.
They are big in Maryland. It took me a while to kind of accept that, being from Colorado, which is a landlocked state. Take their seafood really serious here. And it also took
Oh
me a
yeah.
while to realize that crab chips don't actually have any crab in them. It's just Old Bay, but they're quite tasty.
Oh really? They don't have like crab juice in them?
No,
Wait,
I think it's
wow.
really just the seasoning.
Hmm.
It's kind of like pumpkin spice lattes. There's no pumpkin, it's just the spice. So,
Hmm.
all right. Well,
So
we're not
yeah,
doing the live stream, so we can't look at other people's drinks, but let's talk about some news. What caught your eye today,
yeah.
Sabri?
Well, for me, so I saw this article in Wired, and it's actually very long, and I normally do not have the attention span to read anything more than like a minute. But I actually read the whole thing, and it's basically talks, the long and short of it is, the US has got very freaked out by its loss of dominance in the chips industry, so it is spending all this money bringing chip fabrication here. And, some communities won out and some did not. And they also placed a big bet on Intel, and Intel has a lot of problems that I have personally been wondering about for quite some time. And I didn't know if Intel's problems were some sort of reflection of systemic problems in legacy manufacturing in the US, or, some sign of a rotten underbelly in US manufacturing, after having had so much of it be outsourced. And I was, very curious to get their take on what went wrong at Intel. And they explain it along the way. And a lot of it is just really bad decisions, just really bad decisions. They passed up on the opportunity to make chips for the iPhone, passed up on opportunity to make chips for AI. And then they also passed up the opportunity to be stakeholders in AI and NVIDIA. So they just
Wow.
really, uh, I'm searching for appropriate words, and I am coming up
Missed the
empty.
boat?
But missed the boat. That's the one.
Missed several
That's definitely
boats.
what I was thinking. Yeah, so I thought that was super interesting, and they also explain, how Intel decided to spend billions on in New Albany in Ohio, and how they transport these big machines that are literally like 120 tons, something like that, that take up multiple those big semi trucks, the container trucks, the big cargo trucks. It takes like
Yeah, yeah.
multiple of them to move this thing down the highway. They have to shut down the highway. They have to unscrew traffic lights. They have to um, move power lines just to get this thing down the highway to the plant. And it so it follows this cargo load as it explains the chips wars and Intel's history, and it just filled in a lot of missing blanks. Filled in a lot of blanks for me. So
Hmm.
I kept reading because every so often I would learn a little new something. It's in Wired, and I guess we had the link. I thought it
Wait,
was
is
great.
it by Kelly McEvers, as in former NPR reporter Kelly McEvers, or
Uh,
current? Well,
let me
we
see.
might have to cut this out, but that's cool,
Uh, Wait, why does it?
right?
Oh,
It
oh, it
says Kelly
is. Yeah.
McEvers. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. It is Kelly McEvers. Oh, wow. She
that's
did
so
good.
cool. Yeah, well, I will check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. What about you? What caught your eye?
Okay, so the nomination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. To lead the Department of Health and Human Services is obviously causing a lot of alarm among public health experts. Kennedy is known for his vaccine skepticism and his controversial and many say dangerous views on things like fluoridated drinking water and raw milk. But as I was reading about this, I saw a piece in Axios that just kind of is an explainer on HHS, which I found really interesting. The Health and Human Services Department is a huge agency with 13 different divisions. It's in charge of dispensing nearly a quarter of the federal budget, like $2
That's
trillion.
crazy.
dollars. I
That's
know, it's
crazy.
just massive. And it employs more than 80,000 federal workers, at least for now. But that includes, the big health related departments we think of: the Food and Drug Administration, the CDC, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicaid Services, and the National Institutes of Health. But also the Office of Refugee Resettlement, the Administration for
Oh,
Children and Families, which helps fund foster care and Head Start programs around the country. And then for folks like you and me, Sabri, in journalism, HHS also processes Freedom of Information Act requests, those FOIAs that help us do our jobs. So yeah, that's on Axios. I just thought it was like good civics education for those of us like myself who don't actually know that much about this department. And then one other story related is in the New York Times, and it's about the anti-fluoride movement, which is gaining some momentum with Kennedy's nomination. Um, it's kind of an interesting story. There are some legitimate concerns about the impact of too much fluoride on things like intellectual development of children. But most Americans, 72%, drink fluoridated tap water. But what caught my eye in this history is that it goes back to my hometown, Colorado Springs. In
oh,
1901, a young dentist who had just moved there noticed that a lot of his patients had brown spots on their teeth, and that even though it was kind of ugly, these folks didn't have much dental decay. And it was down to the natural fluoride in the water, which I grew up drinking. I have brown spots on my teeth,
oh,
which
wow.
dentists have pointed out to me over the years. Anyway, eventually that led other municipalities to add fluoride, though Colorado Springs actually dilutes its water because there's too much of it. So I just thought that was
Wow.
kind of interesting. And we have a link to a story on the National Institutes of Health website about that history.
I spent many years ago spent some time in a region of Southeast Europe, in the Balkans, where they were missing a decent amount of infrastructure in that particular area, and it was so normal to see people with actual holes in their teeth, like
Oh, wow.
holes, like all the way through sometimes. And that was, uh, a credit to a lack of fluoride in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's made a
it's kind
huge
of,
difference.
it's kind of like, people are not, because we've had these programs in place for so long, whether it's vaccines or fluoridation, or I'm sure there are others, we've had them in place for so long that we no longer see the alternative, which is not having them, which is, my mom used to talk about kids in her class in wheelchairs because they gotten polio, you know. Um, so yeah, So I guess the consequences are imaginary, and therefore, or rather the benefits, are almost imaginary because you don't see the what happens when you don't have them.
That's so true. And we've seen that with the resurgence of these diseases that had been all but eradicated. Like, whooping cough made a big comeback a few years ago because so many people weren't getting vaccinated. Measles. I think that's a really good point.
You know.
So that's it for the news. We are going to take a quick break and then we'll come back to play a round of half full, half empty. We'll be right back.
All right, we are back. It is time to play Half Full, Half Empty, hosted by our very own Drew Jostad. Drew, take it away.
First up this week, are you half full or half empty on the onion buying info wars?
Go ahead, Sabri.
Well, I'm fully full, half full glass on this. I don't know
All the way
exactly what
full.
they're going to do. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it, but the Onion put out a fake statement from their fake CEO, from their fake parent company called like Tetrahedron Enterprises, talking about how this would allow them to reach new paranoid audiences, to cultivate an atmosphere of fear and terror to better control the masses. So it was they covered their own news in the way that they cover all news. It was great.
It's brilliant. It couldn't be more perfect. Yeah, all the way full, overflowing. Honestly, it was such a bright spot in the news this week just to hear this, you know, this man, Alex Jones, in the website that has done so much harm and hurt so many families who were suffering the worst kind of loss. To see that poetic justice was just beautiful. So I look forward to reading this new site when it comes out.
Next up, we have over the past week, well over 1 million new users have joined the Blue Sky social network. Are you half full or half empty on a Blue Sky great migration?
What do you think, Amy?
I would say I'm half full. I wasn't a huge Twitter user, but I did miss it when I significantly dialed back my presence there. And now the relationship with Elon Musk and the incoming Trump administration, I just feel like it's not a great place to be spending time. It had gotten to be pretty poisonous. And also I just am not happy about like my information and my content being on there. So I'm glad that there's an alternative that's getting a bump. But I also think my life improved dramatically when I stopped spending as much time on social media. And
Mm.
so I want to, this is just personally speaking, I want to proceed cautiously, but I think it's good to have alternatives. It has the same potential to become an echo chamber where you're only hearing from people whose views you agree with, or, a certain kind of viewpoint. It also has the potential to become a place of harassment and toxicity, especially for women who, make the mistake of speaking publicly about anything that they know about and get, smacked down by the reply guys. But yeah, I'm half full. How about you, Sabri?
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm half empty. God, I am already consumed by Instagram. I do not have. I'm making this all about me, okay?
Well,
But
me too.
I don't have bandwidth for another social media platform to keep track of. But no, it sounds fun. Hope everyone has fun there.
Well, I will say, like, there was sort of an exodus of economists, and I've seen also climate scientists and people who work in the climate movement come over to Blue Sky and start posting. So it's a good place to learn stuff. And as a journalist, I like to see um, stuff that I wouldn't otherwise come across just by visiting different websites. But I agree, social
Mm,
media diet, there are already a lot of choices. Everyone should follow Sabri on Instagram, by the way. Your pottery is amazing.
mm. Oh, thanks.
All right,
All
next
right.
topic.
Next story comes from the Wall Street Journal lifestyle page. with a story about how saunas are increasingly being used as Silicon Valley networking locations. Are you half full or half empty?
Okay, I am half full on this because I have seen this in action. Was invited to this very sleek, uh, very like sleek and fancy sauna by some friends and their friends, and they were all like tech startup people and what do you call it? Oh my God, tech startup people, investors, venture capitalists, and they were just doing this. They do this regularly. They just relax at the spa and chit chat and just be friends and get massages and yeah. So it's very strange, but it looks like fun.
I gotta ask you, were they all men?
No, they were
Okay.
uh mhm. No, it's 50-50.
Okay. Well, that's good because it strikes me as another space where it could be potentially exclusive and, limiting, to certain people who may not want to interact semi-clothed in a hot,
Oh, everyone
steamy room
in yeah.
with other
In this one,
people.
everyone was fully bathing suited. It wasn't like a
Yeah,
towel
yeah.
sauna. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say I'm half empty. I love saunas, but I'd like to keep the business out of it. But I'm also not a venture capitalist. I'm not trying to make deals.
All right, next topic. This week, a bill passed the New York City Council that will stop landlords from passing on broker fees to their tenants. Are you half full or half empty?
Mm.
You go, Sabri. You're the only one of us who lives in New York.
Yeah. Look, I am sure that there are two sides to this story and different perspectives, each of them with value. I, however, am only interested in the renter side because I'm a renter in New York and I live, in a shoebox like everybody else. And absolutely, the landlord should pay the broker fee. And for people who don't know what that is, it's you search for apartments, you like look on websites, you get these leads, and then they're like, okay, come visit. You see it, and it's usually nothing like the pictures. It's literally like online dating where no one looks like their pictures, but it's for apartments. And then they're like, okay, also, by the way, you need to pay $4,000 for the broker fee. And you're like, I didn't hire a broker. You hired the broker. I didn't I didn't sign up for this. And they're like, well, that's cool. Well, do you want a place to live in New York or not? If so, pay this broker's fee. And it is one of the many ways that renters are um, extorted in New York. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't know how prevalent this practice is in other cities. It's been a long time since I rented in a big city, but I agree. I mean, I cover housing, so I try not to take positions on some of these issues that I might be covering. But I do think that property owners generally just have the upper hand in so many ways, and it's already so expensive to put down first and last month, and deposit and all the things that you have to do to get an apartment. And I think I'm guessing landlords have a lot more capacity to pay these fees, and they're the ones that really benefit. So I'd say I'm half full
Well,
too.
yeah, I mean, to be fair to landlords, they are under a lot of pressure. They are taxed very heavily in New York. They have to deal with, high maintenance costs and expenses, and yeah, the taxes are significant. So they are under a lot of pressure. But at the same time, we're also talking oftentimes about these high-rise glass, beautiful, very new buildings. The investment firms that own those, they can pay the broker's fee. Okay? God.
There's no half about Sabri's reaction to that. I love it.
All right. One last topic. I'm going to set this one up. It comes from a recent story in the Atlantic. going through social media posts and other stories about people's anxiety that comes from merging friend groups and being afraid that their friends are going to sort of go off without them, or they're going to lose friends to their other friends. So are you half full or half empty on hoarding friends?
Wait, but are they like, is this like when a couple introduces friend groups to one another? Or is
I
it
mean, it's kind of like I got my work friends and I have my like
Mm.
old friends, and I'm afraid that if I try to merge these groups, that I don't know, that that they'll like each other more than they like me.
Oh my gosh,
who?
it's like junior high all
Right.
over again.
Yeah,
Well, I would
who
say
wrote
I
this?
get it. I mean, I have a group of girlfriends that go back to when we were just starting out in our careers. We get together. We all live in different cities now, and so we get together in some agreed upon location every year and a half or so. And we've thought about expanding the group because someone has this really good friend that would really fit in, and it's like, no, no one else is welcome. I kind of understand like why people want to keep their groups close and their group dynamics close, and if you change it just a little bit, who knows what could happen. So, I mean, generally I'm like the more the merrier, but I think friend hoarding, I'm half full on it.
I I still do not understand the question or the scenario or how it comes into being. I don't know. But I'm very chaotic, so um,
Do you
I just
mix friend groups? Do you have like different groups that you've tried to merge?
I have no comment, I think. I mean,
It's too personal, folks. Too personal. Okay.
yeah, I haven't thrown a major party in a while though, so it's rare that I would like be responsible for bringing people together. And usually I'm probably the person that someone's asking about can they join and just sort of sporadically move around.
I've definitely introduced people who then became closer to each other than either of them were to me, and but I'm
Mm,
okay with that. I think
yeah.
one of the only good, good things about getting older is you're like, you know what? It's all good. Just want people to be happy. I'm too busy to really be that invested. But I can see these younger folks struggling to navigate that.
People. I was at a festival with some there were all these Airbnbs of these friend groups that were, there for this festival. And there was one group that was very insular and they were like, we're going to have house parties and after parties, but nobody's friends are invited. It's just within this group that traveled here. And then there are other groups that were like, bring everybody, uh, party time. And I will just say that the latter had the wilder and more fun party.
All right, there we go.
So,
Perfect place to stop. All right, that is a wrap for today. Kai and Kimberly will be back next week. And a reminder, you can check out a video of this episode on Marketplace's YouTube channel.
and keep sending us your comments, questions, suggestions. We are at makemesmart@marketplace.org or leave us a voicemail at 508 UB Smart.
Make Me Smart is produced by Courtney Bergseeker. Today's episode was engineered by Charlton Thorpe.
The team behind our Friday game is Emily McCune, Jamila Huxtable, and Antoinette Brock. Marissa Cabrera is our senior producer. Bridget Bodner is the director of podcasts, and Francesca Levy is the executive director of digital and on demand.